Imagine a life where opportunities, relationships, and abundance flow effortlessly toward you, not because you're relentlessly chasing them, but because you've become a magnet for the things you desire. Welcome to The Art of Effortless Attraction by Mindful Literary, an audiobook designed to help you shift from a mindset of pursuit to one of receiving, from constant chasing to becoming an irresistible force that naturally draws in what you want. This journey isn't about quick fixes or surface level techniques. It's about profound, lasting change. It's about understanding the deep rooted instincts and social conditioning that push us into the endless cycle of chasing, whether it's for love, success, or recognition, and learning how to break free from that. You'll explore the psychological, emotional, and even biological reasons why we chase, and why, paradoxically, the more we chase, the further what we want seems to slip from our grasp. In this audiobook, we'll dive deep into the principles of effortless attraction. You'll learn why confidence, vulnerability, and energy are the true magnets of attraction, how to cultivate them within yourself, and how to let go of the chase without feeling like you're giving up control. Through relatable stories, practical strategies, and thought provoking insights, you'll begin to see that the most powerful form of attraction happens when you stop chasing and start receiving. From understanding the impact of your mindset and environment to harnessing the law of attraction and setting boundaries, this audiobook is a comprehensive guide to attracting what's meant for you without the struggle. We'll also delve into the art of playfulness, the importance of mindfulness, and how even rejections can be transformed into opportunities for growth and deeper connection. Get ready to transform not only how you attract others, but also how you relate to yourself. The art of effortless attraction is about creating a life where things come to you not because you force them to, but because you've become aligned with them. So relax, open your mind, and prepare to master the art of receiving. Chapter 1: The Chase Begins, Understanding Our Instincts. The Evolution of Attraction, a Biological Perspective. Our primal instincts, shaped over millions of years, still influence how we interact in the modern dating landscape, often in ways we don't realize. A charismatic smile might elicit a rush of excitement, but underneath that flirtation lies a whole cocktail of biological urges. When I think about why we chase, whether it be love or a fleeting glance, it's like a dance programmed deep within our DNA. There's nothing quite like the thrill of attraction, as if we're all performing a complex routine, choreographed by evolution itself. Imagine those early humans, darting about, sizing each other up. They had to be sharp, recognizing traits that might indicate a healthy mate. It's both comical and thought-provoking to consider that my modern attraction to someone could simply stem from the size of their jawline or the symmetry of their features, traits that supposedly signal genetic strength. We might just be sophisticated beings unaware of our primal puppet strings. Next, let's unravel the mystery of genetics and desires. Research suggests that our preferences in partners may be encoded in our very genes. Did you ever find yourself irresistibly drawn to someone for reasons you couldn't quite articulate? Blame your ancestors, and maybe a bit of chemistry. Studies have shown that our genetic makeup can influence not only who we are attracted to, but also how we select mates. This realization always strikes me as a blend of science fiction and reality. In my daily encounters, when I notice that certain traits trigger a pop of attraction, I can't help but wonder if my great-great-great-grandmother had a similar weakness for a charming grin, a twinkle in the eye, or even an oddly shaped nose. It's entertaining and enlightening to consider that the very things that make me swoon could be part of a larger biological strategy spanning eons. The more I delve into this world, the more I see that understanding our biology can profoundly influence how we navigate love today. As I reflect on these elements, I realize that attraction is more than a whimsical affair. It's a complex interplay of instinct, choice, and perhaps a tad of evolutionary luck. Noticing these threads connecting our past to our modern love lives offers a new appreciation for the pursuit itself. So next time you find yourself infatuated with someone who seems completely wrong on paper, take a step back and think, is this just chemistry or is my ancient DNA on a mission? Embracing this perspective doesn't mean we should become mindless followers of our urges. It invites a humorous yet profound dive into understanding what stirs us at our core. And who knows, maybe the next passionate chase you embark upon will lead you not only to love, but also to a deeper understanding of yourself. Powered by biology. Social conditioning, what society tells us about chasing. Everywhere you look, there's a story about the chase. Movies, songs, and even fairy tales present this idea that pursuing someone is not just normal, but somehow romantic. Think about it. Countless rom-coms end with the guy running through an airport to stop the woman he loves from leaving. When did we collectively decide that love must involve exerting energy and passion to win someone over? This notion seeps into our psyche, making us believe that love is a sprint, not a stroll. It's as if society yells, "Chase, chase, chase," and we all blindly follow suit. But do we ever stop to consider why we are chasing? It often feels like a fun game, right? However, when the thrill runs out, we can end up feeling more like the hunted than the hunter, caught up in someone else's narrative where the chase was never about us. Media has a powerful way of shaping our views on attraction. Think about that catchy pop song with lyrics about longing and desire. Before you know it, you're convinced that if you're not yearning for someone, then maybe they're not worth it. TV shows have characters who feign disinterest as a way to draw someone in, leaving viewers believing that indifference is the key to attraction. The same goes for social media, where highlight reels lead us to chase perfection instead of connection. We see perfectly curated images that suggest a lifestyle and a romance we wish to mimic. It's a strange paradox. While we're glued to our screens, they tell us we need to put in the effort to capture someone's attention, often leading us to overlook what truly matters: genuine connection. We may find ourselves obsessively analyzing likes and comments, turning the simple act of attraction into a complex mathematical equation. We chase validation in countless likes, but forget that real satisfaction lies in authenticity. Understanding these influences can profoundly change how we approach attraction. Instead of feeling pressured to chase, perhaps the focus should shift towards nurturing connections that already exist or seeking those that feel genuine. It's worth remembering that love shouldn't always be about the thrill of the chase. Maybe it's time to rediscover the beauty of being found by someone who truly appreciates who we are, rather than chasing after someone who may only be a fleeting interest. So next time you find yourself swept up in pursuing someone, pause and reflect. Are you really chasing what you want, or are you just following the script society has handed you? The psychology of desire, why we want what we can't have. The forbidden fruit theory is a classic example of how our brains can be tricked by simple ideas. Imagine walking past a delicious fruit tree. The fruits look shiny and inviting, but there's a big sign that reads, "Do not touch." Suddenly, those fruits become the most desirable things in the world. This idea isn't just a whimsical thought. It's rooted in psychological mechanisms that govern our desires. The moment something becomes off limits, our brain switches into overdrive. We begin to fantasize, analyze, and obsess over the very thing we can't have. It's funny, really. Why do we salivate over something that is essentially unapproachable? Psychologically, it highlights a fundamental part of our nature. The thrill of the chase often outweighs the satisfaction of the catch. One practical tip emerges from this exploration. Try recognizing when your desire stems from scarcity rather than genuine need. It's liberating to identify that a craving might have more to do with its limited availability than true value. By doing so, you can take a step back and ask yourself if you actually want it or if you simply want it because it's forbidden. Embracing this awareness might just help untangle the web of needless desire, allowing you to focus your energy on what truly matters in your life. Chapter 2. The Chasing Trap, Why It's a Dead End. The Paradox of Pursuit. The more you chase, the further they run. Have you ever been in a situation where the more you chase something, the more elusive it becomes? It's almost like that stubborn kid at the playground who just won't share his toy. Chasing leads to heightened levels of anxiety and frustration, creating a funny paradox where the effort to grasp what you desire only pushes it further away. This is partly due to our brains, which are wired to seek rewards, making the chase intoxicating. Our brains release dopamine, the feel-good hormone, whenever we pursue something we want. However, when we don't get it, the disappointment can lead to a cycle where we feel compelled to chase even harder, forgetting that this may actually drive the desired outcome further away. It's almost as if the universe enjoys watching us sweat. Run faster, and you'll just make it that much harder for yourself. Consider the story of my friend Sarah, who was chasing love like it was the last lifeboat on the Titanic. Every time she met someone new, her excitement skyrocketed. But the more needy she appeared, the quicker they slipped through her fingers. It was like watching a master magician perform a vanishing act right in front of her eyes. The irony? She had plenty of suitors when she wasn't overly eager. The moment she decided to put herself out there, they all seemed to take a permanent vacation. This pattern is not rare. From pursuing promotions in our jobs, getting that perfect apartment, or even trying to make friends, the effort we put into chasing can often lead to distance rather than closeness, evaporating our chances in the process. Just like trying to catch a cat that doesn't want to be caught, the more we reach, the more they hiss and run. Identifying the reasons behind our chasing behavior can be illuminating. We often chase because we're conditioned to seek validation and success, believing that obtaining things will fill a void within us. Yet this chase frequently leaves us feeling empty and even more desperate. A practical approach could be to switch gears and focus on self-acceptance rather than external validation. Think of it like this: if we could take a step back and cultivate contentment in our current situations, we might find that what we truly desire often comes to us effortlessly, rather than through frantic pursuit. Embracing patience and self-compassion can transform our approach to life. When we stop chasing, we create space for genuine connections and opportunities to come our way, as if by magic. The next time you feel the compulsive need to chase, remind yourself, sometimes letting go is the key to having what you truly desire. The role of self-worth: why chasers often feel unworthy. Chasing after people, whether it's romantic interests or friendships, often stems from a deeper issue: low self-esteem. When we find ourselves in a perpetual state of pursuit, we may not even realize that we're seeking validation through the approval of others. It's as if we parade around with our worthiness on a string, hoping someone will notice, tug on it, and suddenly endow us with value. I've been there, running after that perfect someone, convinced that if I could just win them over, I'd finally feel good enough. But the truth is that low self-worth fuels this chase. Instead of feeling complete on our own, we depend on external affection to feel whole. The irony is that the more we chase, the more unworthy we often feel when it doesn't pan out. We build up this elaborate construct of what we believe should happen, only to have it come crashing down when reality doesn't meet our expectations. This pursuit can quickly spiral into a vicious cycle of unworthiness. The moment we escape one chasing experience, we often find ourselves in line for another. Believe me, I've crafted an Olympic gold medal-worthy performance in this chase. Each failure or rejection becomes a brick in the wall of our self-perception, reinforcing the idea that we are somehow unworthy of love and acceptance. We might find ourselves saying things like, "If only I were more attractive, more entertaining, or just better." This internal dialogue does nothing but deepen our feelings of inadequacy, pushing us right back onto the pursuit treadmill. It's challenging because the chase can feel thrilling at first, almost like we are the stars of our own romantic comedy, until that initial excitement fizzles out. It shifts from whimsical to dangerous as we neglect our own needs in pursuit of someone else's affection. Understanding this cycle of chasing and feeling unworthy can lead to some eye-opening moments. It's essential to remember that our self-worth does not hinge on others' opinions or affections. Breaking free from this pattern requires self-reflection and, at times, a little humor at our own expense. It may help to remember that we are inherently worthy just by existing. A practical tip is to actively engage in self-affirmation. Instead of fixating on what we lack, we can remind ourselves of our strengths. Celebrate little victories that aren't related to others. Write down things you appreciate about yourself, because while we chase the attention of others, we shouldn't forget the reflection staring back at us in the mirror. The consequences of chasing, emotional exhaustion and burnout. Chasing anything, be it success, love, or approval, can turn into a relentless pursuit that takes a serious toll on our mental health and personal relationships. I've been there, wearing the badge of honor that comes with being busy and constantly striving for more. It feels productive at first, like I'm on some quest for the holy grail of happiness or fulfillment. But slowly, the sparkle starts to fade. The thrill of the chase can morph into a heavy weight on your shoulders, casting a shadow over everything else in life. I found myself snappier than usual with friends and family, even brushing off the very people I was trying to prove something to. When you're stuck in a cycle of chasing, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters, and those closest to you can inadvertently become collateral damage in the frenzy. Recognizing the signs of emotional burnout is essential to avoid this exhausting cycle. Start by tuning in to your feelings. If your inner dialogue sounds like a ceaseless critique, or if you're finding less joy in things you once loved, it might be time for a hard reset. I learned the hard way that taking breaks to reflect can be more valuable than pushing through. Embracing things like mindfulness or even just scheduling regular downtime can help create space to breathe. Putting aside the chase allows for reconnecting with yourself and rethinking what truly matters. And remember, ditching the chase doesn't mean giving up on goals. It means shifting your perspective, chasing happiness rather than fleeting achievements. It's a liberating transition that can bring unexpected joy and fulfillment. As a practical tip, try writing down your top 5 priorities once a week. It forces clarity about what really deserves your time and energy, helping to rein in the chase. A little reflection can keep the birds in your hand rather than having them flutter away in pursuit of brighter feathers. This small practice can redirect focus, allowing you to appreciate the reasons behind your pursuits and potentially rechart your course toward a more balanced approach to life. Chapter 3: Redefining Attraction from Chase to Receive. The Power of Receiving, Openness versus Pursuit. Being open to attraction rather than chasing after it might seem counterintuitive in a world where we are often taught to go after what we want. I've found, through my own amusing misadventures, that the act of pursuit often leads to more frustration than fulfillment. There's something almost poetic about leaning back and allowing attraction to come to you. Instead of being that persistent puppy panting at the door of someone's affection, I've learned to be the comfortable couch. Think about it. When you try too hard, you may inadvertently come off as desperate, which can lead to awkward encounters that feel more like a bad comedy skit than an actual connection. Being open means emitting a kind of warmth and invitation without the frantic energy of pursuit. It's acknowledging that what's meant for you will find you, often when you least expect it. The beauty of receptiveness lies in the authenticity of the connections it fosters. When you're not on the hunt, you create space for real interactions, the kind that are often laced with humor and genuine interest. I vividly recall a time when I stopped scrolling through dating apps and decided to enjoy a solo coffee at my favorite cafe. Instead of looking for potential partners, I was simply present. Little did I know that not chasing would lead me to an equally curious stranger at the adjacent table. Our conversation bubbled over with laughter and a shared understanding of being overwhelmed by life. That day taught me that instead of scanning the room for anyone who might fit a checklist, opening myself up to chance encounters can lead to meaningful connections. The depth of shared humanity often flourishes when it's not measured by pretense or pressure. To enhance your life in relation to attraction, consider this. Practice the art of receptiveness. Whether it's allowing friends to introduce you to new circles or simply being open to conversations with strangers, you'll often find the most delightful connections arise when you least expect them. Reflect on moments when you felt the strongest attraction. Was it during the chase or after a shared laugh where walls came down? Embrace the power of receiving and watch as the world opens up in unexpectedly beautiful ways. Gratitude and attraction. How appreciating yourself attracts others. Self-love is often talked about, but what does that really mean when it comes to attracting the right partners? When I started to appreciate myself more, it felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I realized that before I could attract someone who genuinely cared for me, I needed to care for myself first. The shift was astonishing. I went from desperately scrolling through dating apps like I was hunting for treasure to feeling like I had my own intrinsic value. And guess what? The energy I exuded changed dramatically. Instead of being a magnet for chaos or unhealthy relationships, I started to attract people who were kind, considerate, and genuinely interested in me. It wasn't magic, but a deeper understanding of my worth changed the game entirely. Practicing gratitude daily has been a game changer for me. I began with small things, like savoring my morning coffee or appreciating a compliment from a friend. Over time, this practice evolved into a love affair with myself. I kept a gratitude journal where I highlighted specific traits I liked about myself: my sense of humor, my ability to empathize, and my culinary exploits, however questionable they might be. This daily ritual didn't just elevate my mood, it became a rich tapestry that reinforced my self-worth. I noticed that as I became more grateful, I also became less anxious about attracting friends or partners. I wasn't chasing after people. Instead, I found that they approached me naturally. When you're shining with gratitude and self acceptance, you become difficult to resist. Reflecting on this journey, I realized that the chase is often driven by our insecurities. We chase because we fear that we're not enough. Yet it occurred to me that this kind of pursuit can be exhausting and counterproductive. What if, instead of running after someone, we simply stood in our light? This shift in perspective is pivotal. Being centered in gratitude allows others to see us for who we truly are, and that's where real attraction sparks. So why not take a moment each day to celebrate yourself? Take a minute and breathe in what makes you unique. Nobody else can be you. This simple act can open doors you didn't even know existed. Shifting mindsets from scarcity to abundance. The scarcity mindset is like a tight pair of jeans after the holidays. It constricts, restricts, and makes you feel uncomfortable. We often find ourselves trapped in a belief system that convinces us there simply isn't enough. The classic not enough time, love, money, or good fortune narrative. This way of thinking creates a constant state of lack. Picture yourself at a buffet, but worried there won't be any food left if you don't gobble everything down right this second. You rush, stumble over others, and end up missing out on the delicious experience altogether. Your connections become transactional. Relationships are based on how much you can squeeze out of someone else, and genuine interaction goes out the window. You're left feeling drained and disconnected, and consistently frustrated because you're chasing after something that seems forever out of reach. Now, let's flip the script and consider the abundance mindset. This mindset is akin to throwing open the windows after a stuffy winter. With an abundance mindset, we recognize that there's a universe overflowing with opportunities, possibilities, and genuine connections. Imagine walking into that same buffet, but knowing you can go back for seconds, thirds, or even doggy bags. With that mindset, you're free to explore, taste new things, savor the moment, and connect with fellow diners instead of elbowing them out of the way. Healthy connections blossom from a space where love and kindness are seen as limitless. You find yourself attracting relationships that fulfill and inspire you rather than drain you. The question shifts from, what can I take, to how can I contribute? This shift allows for deeper bonds as we celebrate the successes of others instead of viewing them as competition. The truth is, shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance isn't just a change of perspective. It's a transformative journey that can start with simple habits. Try shifting your daily affirmations from "I wish I had" to "I am grateful for what I have." Replace jealousy with curiosity. When you see someone achieving what you desire, instead of feeling resentful, get intrigued. Ask them for their story, their journey, and see how you can learn from them. This won't happen overnight, but with each small step, you'll find yourself more connected to those around you, living in a world that feels expansive and full of potential. It's all about learning to love the things that set your soul on fire and appreciate that the universe has enough for us all. Chapter 4: The Secret Sauce: Confidence as a Magnet. Building Inner Confidence, the Key to Effortless Attraction. It's interesting how inner confidence, or the lack of it, can shape the way we connect with others. Cultivating that inner confidence is a lot like planting a garden. You've got to prepare the soil, plant the seeds, and nurture them over time. We often underestimate the power of self belief. When you truly feel good about yourself, it changes the entire way you interact with the world around you. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence. It's magnetic, almost tangible. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how a confident person can walk into a room and instantly change the energy? Their presence commands attention because they carry themselves with a certain assurance. To cultivate this kind of confidence, practice self acceptance and focus on your strengths. Make it a daily ritual to remind yourself of what makes you unique and wonderful. This isn't about becoming arrogant, it's about embracing who you are, flaws and all, and knowing that you have something valuable to offer. Let me share a little story. Once, I went to a party feeling particularly low, my inner critic going full blast. I was convinced nobody would want to talk to me. But then I saw someone across the room, a friend really, who was just radiating confidence, cracking jokes and drawing a crowd. It hit me like a ton of bricks. People were flocking to her, not just because she was funny, but because she carried herself like she belonged there. After a few moments of contemplation, I decided to shake off my insecurities, channel that energy, and join in. Suddenly, I became part of the laughter, drawing people in with my energy rather than waiting for someone to recognize my worth. That night, I learned confidence isn't merely about the absence of self-doubt. It's often about how we choose to show up in the moment and engage with our surroundings. Thinking about the psychology behind attraction reveals some fascinating insights. We chase after others because we often feel inadequate, thinking they possess qualities that we lack. But isn't it funny? The moment we stop chasing and begin to focus on ourselves, on what lights us up and brings us joy, we become irresistible. It's almost paradoxical. When we shift our energy from seeking validation to simply being, attraction becomes effortless. Practicing gratitude and appreciating your own life and achievements can reinforce this shift. The more you value yourself, the more others will naturally be drawn to you without any forced effort on your part. So next time you feel the urge to chase, take a step back. Instead, ask yourself what you genuinely enjoy and how you can that joy within. It's this inner confidence that shines through, captivating others without you even realizing it. The art of nonchalance, how not trying makes you irresistible. There's something undeniably attractive about someone who seems effortless in their approach to life and love. Nonchalance in dating and relationships has a unique allure that draws people in like moths to a flame. It's that enchanting quality of confidence wrapped in an air of lightheartedness. Have you ever noticed how the most appealing people often act as if they're just going along for the ride? They don't chase. They simply exist, thriving in their own space. This lays the foundation for deeper connections because there's less pressure and everything seems more genuine. The appeal lies in the freedom from the chains of obsession or neediness, allowing both parties to engage with each other without the stakes feeling incredibly high. Suddenly, the chase becomes an unchaste endeavor, replaced by real interaction. It's almost as if the pursuit is inherently unattractive, while nonchalance whispers promises of adventure. Achieving that laid-back aura isn't as complicated as it seems. First, let go of the need to impress. This doesn't mean you should let yourself go entirely. Rather, it's about embracing who you are and presenting that in a calm, cool manner. One useful tip is to practice mindfulness. When you are fully present, you can react to situations without overthinking every move. This practice also alleviates anxiety that often accompanies dating. Another approach involves body language. Relaxed shoulders, an open posture, and sincere eye contact go a long way in radiating confidence. People find comfort in relaxation, and it encourages them to reciprocate the energy. Humor also plays a key role in nonchalance. A good laugh, whether it's at yourself or the circumstance, builds a bridge of connection. Remember, if you can't be a little silly with someone, how deep can that connection really be? Embrace the quirks within you and wear them like a badge of honor. So why do we chase? Perhaps it's the thrill, that alluring game of hard to get that propels people into a frenzy of pursuit. Yet the magic happens when we shift our mindset away from chasing and towards exploration. Instead of concerning ourselves with outcomes, we can focus on the journey of what it means to connect. By adopting a relaxed demeanor and letting things unfold naturally, we create an environment that fosters genuine interactions. Practicality often finds its way into relationships when we simply allow ourselves to be. Cultivating nonchalance is about balance. It's about mixing a carefree spirit with sincere intentions. People are irresistibly attracted to warmth and lightness. So the next time you feel the urge to chase, take a step back. Breathe and remember that some of the best things happen when we stop trying so hard. The charisma factor, creating connections without the chase. Charisma is often viewed as that elusive trait some people possess, enabling them to effortlessly captivate those around them. It's like they have a magnetic force pulling us in, making us want to be close to them. But the truth is, charisma isn't just a mysterious quality bestowed upon the lucky few. It can be cultivated by anyone willing to open themselves up and connect. Fundamental traits of charismatic individuals include warmth, confidence, and a genuine interest in others. These traits can be developed with practice, like learning to ride a bike or cook a perfect souffle. Cultivating charisma begins with self-awareness. Recognizing your strengths and weaknesses allows you to present your authentic self, which is the bedrock of charisma. You might find that a dash of humor and a sprinkle of empathy can make you more relatable. Confidence, often confused with arrogance, comes from being comfortable in your skin. When you radiate self-assuredness without looking down on others, you create an inviting aura. It's like discovering that being yourself is more appealing than the rehearsed lines we often think we need to memorize. The key is to allow your unique personality to shine through while being genuinely engaged with the people around you. We often chase connections as if they're prizes to be won. The pressure to network, impress, and fit into molds set by society can lead us down a narrow path filled with forced interactions. When our focus is solely on the outcome, a business card traded here, a shiny LinkedIn connection there, we overlook the beauty of authenticity. Genuine interactions, born from curiosity and mutual respect, pave the way for deeper connections. Think about the last time you had a conversation that made you laugh or sparked something within you. That's the magic of authenticity. It feels effortless and often leads to unexpected bonds. Avoiding the chase means stepping back and considering your motivations. Why are we in such a rush to connect? Sometimes it's the fear of being alone or missing out that drives us. By slowing down and focusing on being present in our interactions, we can create environments where charisma thrives naturally. Instead of preparing a pitch for every new acquaintance, why not ask questions that delve into their passions? Encouraging others to share their stories invites openness, allowing charisma to unfold organically. When we stop chasing and start engaging, we not only become more charismatic ourselves, but also foster a space where others feel empowered to be their true selves. This approach not only enriches our social interactions, but also enhances our personal growth. Try it the next time you meet someone new. Start a real conversation and see where it leads. Chapter 5. The Role of Vulnerability, Authentic Attraction. Embracing imperfection, why authenticity wins. Authenticity in modern relationships is like that rare vintage wine you stumble upon in a crowded supermarket. Sometimes you have to sift through a lot of cheap bottles before you find it. With the ever-increasing pressure of social media and curated personas, the quest for perfection is luring us into a trap. We often cover up our flaws with filters and crafted stories, trying to present an ideal version of ourselves. But what if I told you that the beauty lies in our quirks and imperfections? When I finally decided to drop my meticulously polished exterior, I found connections I never knew were possible. The moment I shared my struggles, my embarrassing moments, and yes, my weird obsessions with 90s boy bands, something magical happened. People began to relate. Authenticity breeds a genuine connection that perfection simply cannot achieve. The folks who dared to drop their facades were the ones who drew me in. It resonated. It was refreshing. It was real. Embracing our flaws is not only a path to self-acceptance, it's an open door to connection with others. I remember a time I botched a presentation in front of my colleagues, fumbling over my words, sweat trickling down my back. Instead of hiding it, I laughed it off and shared my nervousness. Surprisingly, that was the moment everyone felt they could relate to me. Suddenly, I was no longer just the employee in their eyes. I became that person who cheers me up when I'm flustered. Others shared their own embarrassing stories, creating a space of trust and acceptance. Flaws are like scar tissue. They tell a story, which is often more appealing and relatable than any polished tale. In our imperfections, we find common ground. We unite over our tales of awkwardness and misjudgments. And in those moments, we weave an intricate tapestry of shared experiences that bind us together. So instead of chasing an ideal version of ourselves, maybe it's time we all just accepted who we are, scars and all. And who knows, you might just forge a deeper connection beyond the surface. The lesson here: next time you feel the urge to portray the flawless image you think you should be, remember it's the flaws that truly connect us. Share your quirks, your misadventures, your authentic self. If you own your imperfections, you give others the freedom to do the same. So step off that hamster wheel of chasing perfection. Embrace your quirks. Wear your scars with pride. In doing so, you might discover that the real prize lies not in perfection, but in the authenticity that builds bonds with the people around you. Sharing your story, the power of relatability in connection. Storytelling is more than just a way to pass the time. It's a powerful bonding tool that connects us on a deeper level. When I think about the times I've truly connected with someone, it often boils down to the stories we've shared. You know those moments when you're laughing over a cup of coffee, recounting your most embarrassing failures, or reminiscing about the awkward phases of adolescence? Those are moments that create unforgettable bonds. Neuroscience backs this up too. Our brains are wired to connect through stories. They help us navigate emotions and experiences, allowing us to find common ground with others. It's as if each time we share a story, we invite someone into our world, granting access to a little part of our soul. That's the beauty of relatability. It gives us the freedom to be vulnerable, to laugh at ourselves, and to hear someone say, "I've been there too." When it comes to sharing your personal narrative, a framework can help you keep your thoughts organized while still allowing your personality to shine through. Start by identifying the core message or lesson of your story. Think of it as the anchor point. What do you want your listeners or readers to take away? Next, weave in the details. Make it colorful, humorous, and honest. Draw from your feelings. What were you thinking? How did it feel at the time? Use vivid descriptions that transport your audience into that moment. Timing is also crucial. Weave in suspense, humor, and indeed, the occasional self-deprecating punchline. People love good laughs. It builds warmth and rapport. Don't shy away from the uncomfortable stuff. That's often the link that leads others to relate to your experience. Everyone has faced rough patches. It's in those raw and real moments that you'll find the most connection. As you start crafting your audience's experience through your story, remember that all your uniqueness shines through with every shared narrative. It's quite a journey to discover just how much our similarities outweigh our differences, and the laughter we share along the way makes all the difference. Keep your audience engaged with relatable situations, like the struggle of fitting into last summer's clothes after the holidays. Every chuckle, every eye roll indicates a connection. When your story strikes a chord, it doesn't just tell your truth, it elevates an audience's shared experience. So the next time you find an open ear, think about how your tales can foster connection. Don't just share for the sake of sharing. Share to bond, to uplift, and to illuminate humanity's beautiful journey together. Here's a practical tip. The next time you're at a gathering, try opening up with a funny personal story. You'll be surprised at how quickly others join in with their own tales, and just like that, you've created a connection. The beauty of vulnerability, how openness attracts openness. When we lay bare our true selves, something remarkable happens. Vulnerability invites connection in a world where masks are the norm. Think of vulnerability as a bridge, swinging precariously between two people. As I've navigated the ups and downs of relationships, I've found that moments of honest sharing, not the fabricated perfection we often project, are what create deep, lasting bonds. It's those candid conversations, the late night confessions that reveal fears about the future, or the quirk that embarrasses us but makes us human. Every time I choose to let someone see the real me, it's like throwing a stone into a pond. The ripples of that honesty often reach back to them, beckoning a similar openness in return. There's a certain magic when one person sheds their armor. The other is often inspired to follow suit. Suddenly, the conversation transforms from the mundane surface level to the vibrant depths of who we are and what we really care about. This shared vulnerability nurtures trust, and trust is the soil in which deeper relationships flourish. Now, embracing vulnerability doesn't mean diving headfirst into the deep end without a flotation device. Practicing vulnerability safely is about finding the right balance, ensuring we don't expose ourselves recklessly. During my journey, I've learned to test the waters with small, safe disclosures. It might start with sharing a silly fear, like a paralyzing dread of spiders or an embarrassing obsession with 90s boy bands. These little glimpses allow someone else to see me without overwhelming them, or myself, with the weight of my entire life story. It's about being aware of whom you're with and how they respond. You can gauge their growth and openness, like checking for signs they're ready to dive deeper with you. Finding safe spaces, like close friends or even supportive online communities, allows us to practice and refine our vulnerability muscle. It is practice that makes us stronger. As we share and receive, we can create a tapestry of connection without fear of tearing any threads. Ultimately, the beauty of vulnerability is that it's reciprocal. It's a cycle of honest giving and receiving. So, if you find yourself feeling brave enough to peel away a layer of the facade, start small and with trusted individuals. The most significant connections often emerge from a simple, genuine moment of honesty. It's okay to be cautious. Just remember, every little act of vulnerability counts, and it paves the way for deeper trust and connection. Keep in mind, vulnerability is not a weakness. It's the most potent form of courage you can embody. Chapter 6. All about the energy, attracting with intent. High vibes only, harnessing positive energy for attraction. Positive energy is like a magnet for life's best offerings, including the connections we seek. When I started to consciously raise my vibrational energy, I noticed something fascinating. People were drawn to me like moths to a flame. It wasn't magic or some trendy manifestation hack. It was the simple power of being upbeat and open. This dynamic draws people in because who doesn't want to be around someone who exudes joy and positivity? Think of it as a vibe check. When your energy is high, others can't help but feel it, which makes attraction feel effortless. It's like there's an invisible force field that repels negativity while attracting like-minded souls who are also looking for lighthearted connections. To maintain that high vibrational energy, I've experimented with various practices that have really helped me stay buoyant and bright. Starting my day with gratitude changes everything. Instead of waking up and diving into the chaos of emails or social media, I take a moment to reflect on what I'm thankful for. Dancing like nobody's watching also works wonders. Whether it's in my living room or the kitchen, moving my body to music not only lifts my mood, but creates a vibrant atmosphere. Another gem I've discovered is surrounding myself with uplifting people. If a friend frequently dives into negativity, it's time to hit the brakes and steer my energy elsewhere. Little habits like these keep my energy high and encourage that magnetic attraction toward the people and opportunities I truly want. Here's a practical tip. Try journaling about your daily wins, no matter how small. Creating a daily highlight reel will shift your focus towards the positive and amplify your vibe. When you celebrate your own life, you not only cultivate your own happiness, but you also become a beacon for others. Think of it as tuning into the right radio station. When you're on the same frequency, you're bound to attract the right listeners. The law of attraction, thinking it to existence. The law of attraction is like that mysterious friend who keeps claiming they have the secret to love. Ever notice how we often end up chasing after the wrong people, the ones who are barely a good match? This principle suggests that what we focus on, literally think about, shapes our reality, especially in relationships. It persuades us to concentrate on the qualities we desire rather than lamenting what's absent. Picture this. When you focus on love and positive energy, you're not just hoping for something good, you're actually attracting it. It's a bit like sending out a signal to the universe, saying, hey, this is what I want. You might find that the more you dwell on joyful, loving thoughts, the more you begin to notice those traits in potential partners. It's like those days when you contemplate buying a red car, and then suddenly it feels like every other car on the road is red. Your thoughts become the lens through which you view the world, making you more receptive to the love you seek. Now, visualization techniques play a pivotal role in this attraction game. Imagine you're painting a picture of your ideal partner in your mind. This isn't just daydreaming, it's about creating a vivid image that you can feel and believe. Picture their laugh, their quirks, and how they fit seamlessly into your world. Each detail you add is like sprinkling fairy dust on your vision. You might want to create a vision board, slapping up photos and quotes that embody your desires. Infusing your visuals with emotions is key. Try to feel what it would be like to be in love, to experience the warmth of a smile from this ideal partner. The world may not deliver everything you hoped for right away, but every time you visualize, you're reinforcing that signal to the universe. It's vital, however, to combine this visualization with a pinch of patience. At times, chasing after love may feel like an Olympic sprint, but the allure lies in the gentle art of letting go and trusting the process. If you find yourself caught in the cycle of wanting and pursuing, take a moment to breathe and reflect. Recognizing that true attraction stems from within can be revolutionary. Instead of hunting for love, focus on becoming your best self, filling your own cup first. This slight mindset shift can have profound effects on your relationships. So the next time you feel that desperate twinge to chase someone who doesn't quite fit, remind yourself to shift your focus inward. Love will come your way, not because you're chasing it, but because you're simply radiating it. Body language. Communicating interest without chasing. Body language is a fascinating world that silently communicates what words sometimes cannot. It's like a dance of gestures and expressions that can either draw people closer together or push them apart, all without a single word being exchanged. One of the most intriguing aspects of attraction is how we can sense someone's interest, or lack of it, simply through their movements and expressions. Have you ever locked eyes with someone across the room, only to watch them turn their body away? That's a clear signal. They're not interested. Conversely, when someone leans in, maintains eye contact, and smiles while you share a laugh, that's an invitation, a red carpet rolled out just for you. Isn't it amusing how a slight tilt of the head or a simple smile can send your heart racing or leave you heartbroken? The psychology behind this unspoken language is quite captivating. Our bodies often react before our minds even realize it. We give off signals when we are attracted to someone, like subconsciously mirroring their movements or finding ways to stay in close proximity. That leap in heart rate when someone's hand brushes against yours, or the inexplicable urge to touch someone's arm while talking, these are all signs of interest. It's almost as if our bodies have their own language, one that doesn't involve any awkward chit-chat. Instead, it communicates through the subtleties of movement and expression. Yet, what perplexes me is why we often find ourselves chasing after someone who barely acknowledges these signals. It's as if we've become entangled in a game where the stakes are set way too high, all because we choose to ignore the gentle nudges our own body language gives us. If the elegance of body language can convey so much, why not harness that power? Understanding that you don't have to chase anyone to spark a connection is a game changer. For starters, truly engaging in conversation involves not just listening to the words spoken, but also paying attention to the subtle signals you send out. A relaxed posture, facing someone directly, or maintaining a soft gaze can convey genuine interest. It's fascinating how these small tweaks can transform a mundane interaction into something vibrant and alive. While chasing can feel exhausting, using positive body language is refreshing and empowering. It's about opening yourself up and inviting others in through your own demeanor. Next time you find yourself in a social setting, remember that not every attraction needs to turn into a chase. Let your body language do the talking and be receptive to what it tells you about others. These insights can make the experience less about the pursuit and more about the delightful adventure of connecting with someone on a deeper level. Chapter 7: The Art of Playfulness, Keeping It Light. Play versus seriousness. Why playfulness invites attraction. Embracing a playful attitude transforms the way we connect with one another. When we approach interactions with playfulness, it's as if we're inviting those around us into a shared world of joy and spontaneity. I've noticed that the folks who radiate lightheartedness seem more magnetic. Laughter is like a superpower that draws people in. Something about their carefree nature seems to say, "I'm fun, I'm approachable, and you can be yourself with me." It diminishes tension in the air, substitutes awkward silences with giggles, and turns mundane conversations into delightful exchanges. Personally, I've found that when I'm playful, it's easier to connect, whether it's with friends, colleagues, or someone I'm trying to impress. The benefits are clear. People want to be around those who remind them of the lighter side of life. Playful people often break down the barriers that serious discussions build, creating opportunity for deeper connections without the weight of expectation. Lightening the mood can be as simple as introducing humorous anecdotes or playful teasing into your discussions. One technique I've had success with involves making an exaggerated statement about something trivial. For example, if someone mentions they love pizza, I might respond with, "Oh, is that why the pizza section in my fridge now has a VIP access card?" It's a silly way to shift the atmosphere toward laughter. Another effective approach is to engage in lighthearted banter, gently poking fun while ensuring it's all in good spirit. Likewise, utilizing playful props or quotes can instantly add a dash of whimsy to conversations. I find that even something as simple as a quirky hat during video calls can break the ice and spark creative dialogue. In all of this, remember that playfulness is an attitude, a choice we make to embrace the joy in our interactions. The next time you feel tension creeping into a conversation, consider how you can sprinkle a little humor into the mix. Use a playful tone or a witty observation to keep things fun. This not only enhances your attractiveness, but also creates a warm atmosphere where everyone feels comfortable to engage. So, why chase seriousness when you can dance in the delightful realm of play? Revisiting our inner child can open up a world of connection. So let's invite laughter and lightness wherever we go. Flirting versus chasing, finding the balance. Understanding the difference between healthy flirting and destructive chasing behaviors is crucial. Healthy flirting often feels light and playful, like tossing a cute, sizzling comment across the table that makes your date laugh. It's about creating a connection without the looming pressure of expectations. On the other hand, destructive chasing brings to mind that frantic desperation to catch someone's attention, akin to a dog chasing its tail. You might find yourself sending multiple texts, reading into every little thing they say, and obsessively wondering if they're into you. This chasing can stem from insecurities and the fear of rejection, morphing an enjoyable interaction into a stressful pursuit. Recognizing this shift is key. If you feel far more anxious than excited, it's a good moment to take a step back and ask yourself why you feel that way. Perhaps, just maybe, the person you're interested in isn't as enthusiastic about the exchange, and that's perfectly okay. Flirting authentically is an art, one that's less about tactics and more about being true to yourself. It's easy to get trapped in the notion that you need to put on a show or impress someone by adopting a persona that isn't really you. The pressure can feel overwhelming. Instead of rehearsing cheesy pickup lines or pretending to be someone you're not, embrace who you truly are. When you flirt from a genuine place, the exchange becomes a fun dance rather than a competitive chase. It's about sharing quirks, cracking jokes, and allowing your true personality to shine. This means you'll likely attract the right person who appreciates you for who you are, without the need to chase them until you're both out of breath. The point is to engage thoughtfully while maintaining your cool. A playful banter, a heartfelt compliment, or even just a shared laugh can build intimacy without diving into the stresses of desperation. As you navigate the world of flirting, keep this in mind. Relationships thrive on authenticity and ease rather than on relentless pursuit. Each encounter can be a fun exploration rather than a high-stakes competition. Pay attention to the dynamics of the interaction. If you sense the other person is not as engaged or interested, it's okay to let go. Remember that a day will come when you'll effortlessly connect with someone who truly matches your vibe. So, the next time you feel that itch to chase after someone, take a breather. Instead, put your energy into cultivating your unique charm and allowing it to attract someone genuinely interested in who you are. The humor factor, making connections through laughter. Humor plays a powerful role in connecting with others. When we share a laugh, barriers dissolve, and we often find ourselves feeling more at ease and open. It's as if laughter acts as a universal glue that binds us together, breaking down the walls we often build around ourselves. I remember a time when I entered a room filled with stern faces, and instead of shrinking back, I made a silly remark about my attempts at cooking. The collective chuckle from the group shifted the atmosphere entirely. Laughter is not just a response, it is a tool of empathy that fosters rapport and even attraction. We chase this lightheartedness because it ignites joy and creates comfort in what can otherwise feel like daunting interactions. The unexpected twist here is that the moments we desperately seek, connection and belonging, can often be found in shared laughter. Incorporating humor into daily conversations can transform mundane exchanges into memorable moments. It's not about telling the perfect joke, but rather embracing spontaneity and lightness. One strategy I love is to find humorous parallels in everyday situations. For instance, talking about a frustrating day at work, I might compare my struggle to find a pen to a detective on a case. These little quips not only bring a smile, but also invite others to share their own similar experiences, creating a bonding moment over shared frustrations. Mimicking lighthearted antics or playful sarcasm can be incredibly effective too, but remember to keep it friendly and appropriate to avoid misunderstandings. Timing is key. A well-placed joke during a moment of tension can completely lighten the mood. Always be present in your interactions. Pay attention to what others find funny, and let that guide your attempts at humor. As you explore this humor factor, consider the impact it can have not only on your relationships, but also on your own mindset. Laughter reduces stress and fosters resilience. Cultivating a habit of finding humor will not just help you connect with others, but it will also create a positive feedback loop that makes life feel lighter. Trying lighthearted self-deprecation can be refreshing, as it shows that we don't take ourselves too seriously. Laughter is a powerful gift. When you share it, you create echoes of joy that resonate far beyond that moment. Whether it's a whimsical comment or a shared inside joke, remember that laughter might be the most effective tool for fostering deeper relationships and cultivating a joyful existence. Chapter 8: Own Your Narrative, the Power of Self-Storytelling. Crafting Your Love Story, Confidence Through Self-Expression. Self-expression is a superpower when it comes to attracting the right partner. It's like throwing a boomerang. What you put out into the universe tends to come back around, sometimes with an intriguing twist. Imagine walking into a room full of people. If you're confidently expressing who you are, your unique vibe is like a beacon. People are naturally drawn to authenticity. And let's face it, no one wants to date a version of someone who is half-heartedly trying to fit a mold. When your self-expression is genuine, it creates real connections. There's also this deep psychological concept behind chasing after affection. The chase can sometimes feel exhilarating, almost like being on an endless treasure hunt. But why do we chase? At times, it's because we find ourselves drawn to what seems unattainable. There's a thrill in the risk, but this constant pursuit can become exhausting. Understanding this dance of attraction is crucial. When self-expression shines through, you begin to attract partners who resonate with the real you, rather than a fabricated persona. Choosing to express yourself genuinely fosters an environment of mutual appreciation, which is foundational for any relationship. Writing your love story out loud, or even just to yourself, is a formidable exercise in self-discovery. Start by reflecting on moments that make your heart pound. Were they quiet, tender interactions, or were they exhilarating adventures that took you completely off guard? By articulating these experiences, you are not just pinning down your past, but you're also shaping how you would like to present yourself to others, especially potential partners. Create a narrative that showcases your individuality while highlighting the things you desire in a relationship. Moreover, when it comes to communicating your love story, remember that humor can be your best ally. Humor creates an infectious energy that can break down barriers faster than a million self help books. You might find it helpful to share a funny anecdote about a date gone wrong. It lightens the mood and makes you relatable. Just like in great storytelling, pacing matters. Allow your narrative to flow. Don't rush the moments. Remember, it's about creating connections through shared experiences, so don't shy away from the vulnerable bits. Those quirks and missteps can turn into compelling narrative threads that resonate deeply with others. Finding the balance between confidence and humility is essential. Own your story as you reveal it. When you step into the realm of self expression with confidence, you implicitly tell the world that you are worthy of love as you are. Each time you share your story, you craft that narrative a little more, making it a reflection of your true self while inviting others to join you in your unique journey. The impact of personal branding, attracting with authenticity. Personal branding is an interesting thing. It's like wearing a neon sign that says, "This is me." It enhances attraction because it exudes a sense of confidence and individuality that draws people in. When you shape your branding authentically, it resonates with others on a deeper level. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who was just so refreshingly genuine that you couldn't help but be curious? That's the power of personal branding. It's not just about the flashy logos or social media presence. It's the essence of who you are that people feel compelled to connect with. In a world flooded with facades, authenticity cuts through the noise. It invites people in, sparking conversations, opportunities, and relationships. And the beauty of it? You don't have to chase validation or approval. Instead, you simply attract what aligns with your true self. Building an authentic personal brand is more than just putting out a shiny image. It requires introspection and action. Start by digging deep to uncover your values, passions, and unique traits. What sets you apart in a crowd? Once you have that clear picture, begin sharing your story. Share your triumphs and failures with the same zeal because it's the imperfect moments that cultivate connection. Engage with your audience genuinely, be it through social media posts, speaking gigs, or casual meetups. Authenticity isn't just a marketing tactic, it's building rapport that lasts. Don't just tell people what you do, show them who you are. Show your quirks and your laughter, your struggles and your growth. This transparent journey often fosters a loyal community that resonates with your journey, creating a magnetic pull that attracts opportunities and support. As you embark on the journey to forge your personal brand, remember that it's about finding your tribe and being comfortable in your skin. Trust that attracting people genuinely interested in your authentic self will lead to more rewarding connections than chasing after fleeting impressions. Embrace vulnerability. It opens doors you never knew existed. End every interaction with a smile and perhaps a provoking thought. Why not challenge the norms or share a unique perspective? When you do it from a place of authenticity, the impact you create is undeniable, and it sets a foundation for everything you build moving forward. How to own your story, reframing past experiences. Reframing your narrative can feel like trying to change the ending of your favorite book. Impossible, right? Not quite. Understanding that your past doesn't have to define you is empowering. I once thought my younger self was like a viral video on repeat, all cringes and missteps. But when I looked back with a new perspective, I uncovered the hidden gems in those moments. It's all about shifting the lens through which you view your experiences. Instead of seeing failures, consider them as lessons wrapped in awkwardness. My awkward school dance? It taught me about rhythm, resilience, and the importance of wearing shoes that actually fit. A positive narrative doesn't ignore the tough times. Rather, it embraces them as essential parts of a larger tapestry that is uniquely yours. To begin adopting this proactive perspective, start with a simple exercise I call the reframing filter. Grab a journal and divide it into two sections: what happened and what I learned. For every struggle or embarrassing moment, write down the event in the first section. Then, in the second section, flip the script. Instead of beating yourself up over that job interview that went sideways, rephrase it. Maybe it's a chance to explore career paths that actually excite you instead of settling for the mundane. Allow your playful spirit to redefine the narrative. This exercise is not just for writers. It's a powerful tool for anyone looking to take ownership of their stories. Every time I revisit my list, I find new wisdom buried in the ashes of my past mistakes. As you go through your story, remember that each moment is simply part of your journey. The chase for validation or perfection can be exhausting, and sometimes we need to stop running. We chase after those societal mile markers, thinking we need to align with them to feel worthy. Instead, try focusing on what makes you feel alive. Own those quirky experiences that define you. They're not just distractions, but milestones on your path. The next time you find yourself editing your own history to fit someone else's expectation, ask yourself, what if my story is already perfect just the way it is? Embracing your narrative, flaws and all, is the first step toward owning it genuinely. So, when life throws you a lemon, don't just make lemonade. Turn it into a refreshing cocktail and celebrate your journey. Chapter 9. The Influence of Environment on Attraction. Surrounding yourself with positive energy, the right atmosphere. The environment we are in plays a surprisingly huge role in shaping how we interact with others. Picture this. You walk into a room where the walls are painted a bright, cheerful yellow. The sunlight spills through the windows, and there's a happy hum of laughter floating in the air. Instantly, you feel lighter, don't you? Contrast that with a dim, cluttered room filled with people glued to their phones, and the energy shifts dramatically. It's almost as if the vibe of a place pulls at invisible strings connecting us all, determining whether we open up or shy away. Creating an inviting atmosphere isn't just about aesthetics, though. It's about energy exchange. Engaging conversations flow easier when the space encourages them. Simple changes, soft lighting, comfortable seating, or maybe a touch of greenery can work wonders. Think about the small coffee shop on the corner that draws in crowds not just for the caffeine, but for the cozy atmosphere that whispers, "Stay a while." We all chase connections and validate our existence through interactions. By curating the right space, we set the stage for deeper bonds. Trust me, it's like throwing a fabulous party where everyone feels blissfully welcome, and the awkward silences find their way to the back door. One of the best ways to cultivate this positive ambiance is through intention. Decide what kind of interactions you want to nurture and arrange your surroundings accordingly. If laughter and camaraderie are on your agenda, choose colors and decor that evoke warmth. Music can be another engaging element. It's amazing how the right playlist can lift spirits and inspire conversation. Always remember, when you set out to create an environment ripe for positive energy, you're not just decorating a space, you're crafting an experience. So, sprinkle a little kindness, add a pinch of joy, and you'll be surprised by how the connections around you flourish. The real magic begins when you recognize that the right atmosphere can transform mere acquaintances into lifelong friends. Social circles, attracting your tribe to enhance connections. Social circles are more than just a collection of acquaintances. They play a pivotal role in shaping who we are and how we connect with others. Think about the friendships you cherish most. They likely have a profound influence on your choices, mood, and even your self-esteem. When you're surrounded by inspiring, funny, or intelligent people, it can feel like you're on top of the world. But dive a little deeper, and you'll discover that the dynamics of who we choose to keep close often stem from a mix of validation and belonging. We have this innate desire to chase after those who resonate with us. It's almost like hunting for that perfect coffee blend, where every sip tastes like an emotionally satisfying hug. But why do we chase this connection so fervently? Often it's a quest for approval or a deeper understanding of ourselves through the eyes of others. The pressure to fit in sometimes misguides us to cling to toxic relationships or groups that drain our energy rather than uplift and empower us. Creating a social environment that empowers you is an art, not a science. It requires a sprinkle of bravery, a dash of self-awareness, and maybe even a touch of humor. Start by evaluating your current social circle. Who makes you feel like a rock star and who leaves you feeling like a damp towel? Don't be afraid to put distance between you and the energy vampires. We've all had those friends who, instead of bolstering our spirits, seem to suck out the very life from our veins. It can be tempting to hold on to these connections, convinced that we need to help them. However, nurturing your own growth often means making room for those who inspire and motivate you instead. An empowering social environment is like a well-tended garden. It flourishes with the right mix of nurturing sunlight and occasionally a little pruning. Seek out diverse voices and perspectives. Engage with people who challenge your thoughts and encourage your growth. Show up with authenticity, and you'll attract genuine souls who appreciate the real you. Sometimes, laughter truly is the best glue. Find friends who can share a laugh at life's absurdities. Those are the bonds that deepen and endure. Finally, dare to reach out to new places and people. You never know. Your next great connection might just be around the corner. So keep an open heart and a curious mind. Creating inviting spaces, how your environment affects your energy. Physical spaces have a powerful impact on our emotional energy. It's astonishing how the walls surrounding us, the colors we choose, and even the clutter we accumulate can affect our mood and mindset. I've often found myself in rooms where the energy felt heavy, almost like trying to swim through molasses. On the contrary, walking into a bright, airy space can lift my spirits instantly, making me feel buoyant and inspired. This isn't just a coincidence. It's about the intricate relationship between our environments and our emotions. For example, studies show that natural light can enhance mood and productivity, while dull, dark rooms tend to stagnate creativity. Every detail within a space, from the placement of furniture to the choice of decor, has the potential to influence the energy flow around us. It's like an invisible dance where our surroundings lead us, often when we are least aware of it. Making practical changes to create inviting spaces doesn't have to be overwhelming or costly. Simple tweaks can transform the energy of any environment. Think about adding plants. Their greenery not only purifies the air, but also brings a sense of life and vibrancy. Rearranging furniture can open up space, promoting a better flow and encouraging connection with others. I remember a time when I moved my couch to face the window instead of the TV. It completely shifted the feel of the room, making it a place for conversation rather than isolation. Decluttering serves as a mental reset, allowing positive energy to circulate freely. Large, overwhelming spaces can feel intimidating. Breaking them into inviting, cozy corners can invite relaxation. It's fascinating how creating these intentional, inviting spaces calls us to connect, not just with others, but with ourselves. Every corner becomes an opportunity for warmth and a little magic. The take-home message here is to be mindful of how you curate your environment. It isn't just about aesthetics, it's about fostering an emotional landscape that nurtures and fuels your spirit. Next time you feel drained or disconnected, take a moment to assess your space. What might be weighing down your energy? Sometimes, a few small changes, like a burst of color on the walls or a favorite chair in a new spot, can ignite a spark of creativity and joy. Instead of chasing the perfect moment or relationship outside yourself, look closely at how your inner world reflects and interacts with your physical space. Shifting your surroundings can be the first step toward shifting your energy. Chapter 10: Mindfulness and Attraction, Being Present. Meditation for Magnetism, Finding Calm, Attracting Peace. Mindfulness and meditation are like secret ingredients that can transform your inner self into a magnet for positivity and attraction. When I first started dabbling in meditation, I honestly thought it was just a way to escape the chaos of daily life, much like trying to drown out the sound of the coffee grinder with my favorite tunes. But instead, I discovered something profound. The stillness we seek on the outside is mirrored in our ability to enchant those around us. You see, when we engage with the present, shedding worries and distraction, we naturally emit an energy that others find magnetic. It's not just about quieting the mind, it's about amplifying our unique essence, allowing our true selves to shine. In the quietude, I often found clarity and authenticity whispering back to me, much like a quirky friend throwing unexpected compliments your way. Once I wrapped my head around the fact that everyone possesses an inherent power to attract, it's just buried under layers of stress and overthinking, I jumped headfirst into various meditation techniques that promised to help me channel this energy. One simple method that worked wonders for me was simply focusing on my breath. Picture this. As I took deep, slow inhales, I imagined drawing in positive vibes and luck. And with my exhales, I let go of all the doubts and negativity that clung to me like an unwelcome guest at a party. Another surprising technique was visualization. I would close my eyes, imagine the type of energy I wanted to attract, and see it flowing toward me. At first, it felt silly, like playing pretend on the playground, but the more I practiced, the more I felt that energy actually aligning. It's astonishing how such simple practices can redirect the course of your day and life. A pinch of humor didn't hurt either. I often pictured myself in a superhero cape, inviting good vibes to notice me. Diving deeper into this exploration, I realized that another layer revolves around why we chase what we do. Chasing has become the favorite pastime of modern life. From relationships to careers, we dart after things, driven by fear of missing out or societal expectations. But meditation invites us to ask, what if, instead of running, we simply settled into stillness? It's in the stillness that we confront our desires and discern which truly resonate with our spirit. It's not about eliminating ambition, but about finding a peaceful balance. A practical tip I'd share from my journey is to set aside just a few minutes each day for intentional meditation. With this small commitment, anyone can nourish that calming energy within, allowing their natural magnetism to flourish. Let the stillness become your ally, and watch how it transforms your interactions and attractions in life. The art of active listening, engaging without chasing. Active listening is often seen as a lost art, overshadowed by our tendency to race through conversations like they're a sport. I remember a time I was talking to a friend while internally plotting my grocery list, thinking about what I needed to pick up after our chat. It was then I realized I was just running through the motions without truly connecting. The beauty of active listening lies in its power to form real connections. When we listen actively, we not only hear the words being spoken, but also understand the emotions behind them. It creates a space where people feel valued and appreciated. This connection opens the door to deeper relationships and helps us feel less isolated in our hectic lives. Active listening transforms conversations from superficial exchanges to meaningful dialogues, allowing us to step out of the relentless chase for attention and validation. Engaging in active listening is like turning on a switch that lights up the conversation. You can practice it in simple, day-to-day interactions. For instance, next time you're chatting with a colleague, try to focus entirely on what they are saying instead of planning your next response. Nod occasionally or respond with small affirmations like, I see, or that's interesting. It's all about being genuinely present. If your mind begins to wander, gently pull it back to the discussion and ask open-ended questions. This not only shows that you're listening, but it also invites them to share more. Perhaps the best tip? Slow down. We often rush our interactions, but by taking a moment to pause, we can digest thoughts and express ourselves more clearly. So why do we chase after fleeting moments of connectivity? Often, it's our fear of silence that pushes us into frantic conversations rather than enriching ones. By understanding that every interaction doesn't need to be a sprint, we can embrace the art of being present. Next time you find yourself tempted to fill every silence with chatter, consider this. It's in those quiet pauses where understanding breathes and connections grow. Remember, engaging fully rather than chasing leads to richer dialogues, nurturing connections that stand the test of time. Being present in the moment, how mindfulness attracts connections. When I first learned about mindfulness, I thought it was just another buzzword floating around in self-help circles. But the moment I started practicing being present, my relationships changed in ways I never expected. The rush to connect, to be on all the time, often leaves us missing out on the actual people in front of us. It's like trying to catch a butterfly by sprinting through a field while waving our arms wildly. What a sight! Ironically, the more I chased after meaningful connections, the more elusive they became. I realized that being truly present in conversations, in moments shared, was the secret ingredient missing from my interactions. Instead of staring at my phone or mentally drafting my next clever response while my date talked about their favorite ice cream flavor, I began to actually listen. This act of engaging fully turned mundane exchanges into profound moments of connection. It's magical what happens when we stop chasing the next big thing and start appreciating what's right in front of us. To put mindfulness into practice in dating, I started incorporating simple exercises that can transform the experience from a nerve-wracking pursuit into an enjoyable exploration. One of my favorites is the five senses technique. During a date, I take a moment to consciously engage all my senses. What do I smell? What do I see? Are there any sounds that catch my attention? This not only grounds me, but also makes me more attentive to my surroundings and my date. It helps shift the focus off my inner ramblings about whether I'm saying the right thing. Another great exercise is the 3 deep breaths routine. Right before meeting someone, I pause to take 3 deep breaths, silently reminding myself to be here now. It sounds simple, but it's surprisingly effective. These moments of breathing create a buffer between expectations and reality, offering a space where authentic connections can bloom. So the next time you're navigating the treacherous waters of dating, remember, slow down. The treasure you seek may just be waiting for you to notice it. Mindfulness isn't just a fancy term for yoga enthusiasts. It's a practical approach to living life and forming connections. Try adding mindfulness into your daily routine, whether in dating or just hanging out with friends. Taking time to be fully present may not only deepen your relationships, but also enrich your entire life experience. Ultimately, the key is to remind ourselves that connection is about quality, not quantity. When we focus on being truly present, we create deeper, more meaningful bonds that make the pursuit worth it. Chapter 11. The Role of Boundaries, Attracting with Clarity. Setting healthy boundaries, creating space for attraction. Boundaries are like invisible lines we draw in relationships to define what we're comfortable with and what we aren't. They might sound serious or rigid, but in reality, they're flexible and often humorous once you get the hang of them. Think of them as the rules of a game where both players agree not to sneak in extra points by bending the rules. Relationships without boundaries can feel like an open buffet where everyone's piling their plates full without consideration for anyone else. You end up feeling overwhelmed, burned out, and let's face it, less attracted to those very people who should light up your world. So why do we chase after relationships without establishing boundaries? It often stems from a mix of fear of rejection or of being alone, and a belief that we must sacrifice our own needs for connection. But here's the kicker. Setting boundaries doesn't push people away. Instead, it creates a space where attraction can flourish. By clearly communicating what you want, need, and expect, you invite others to do the same, which can lead to deeper and more meaningful connections. Now, how do you actually set these glorious boundaries? First off, it starts within. Self-reflection is key. Ask yourself what feels right and what doesn't. Maybe late-night texts bug you, or perhaps you dislike it when someone interrupts you. Whatever it is, pinpoint those quirks. Once you've figured that out, communicate your needs clearly and directly. It's not about dropping bombshells on someone without warning, but rather expressing yourself in a way that sounds like you care. And you do. Humor can help here too. If you're feeling awkward about sharing your boundaries, try sprinkling a bit of lightness into the conversation. You might say, just for the record, the only thing I want dumped on me is ice cream, not unsolicited advice. By making your intentions clear while still keeping it light, you create an atmosphere where your needs are respected and others feel comfortable sharing their own. Remember, setting boundaries is an ongoing process and requires some fine-tuning. Keep the dialogue open. Things change. You might discover a new pet peeve or find that something you initially thought was okay now feels like a trip to Zombieland. As you continue to define your boundaries, you give both yourself and those around you the chance to adjust and grow. At the end of the day, the goal is to cultivate space where attraction can thrive. To help you, consider keeping a little boundaries journal. Jot down what feels right, what doesn't, and how you communicated about it. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small. You'll not only keep track of your feelings, but also remind yourself that you're worthy of respect and love. Engaging with this habit can transform your relationships and help pave the way for connections that truly fuel you. Knowing your value, why boundaries attract, not deter. Self-worth plays a crucial role in how we establish and maintain our boundaries. The moment we truly recognize our value, we cultivate a sense of power over our choices. It's as if we get a superhero cape made of self-respect that we can wear while navigating the often chaotic landscape of relationships. Let's be honest, when we don't value ourselves enough, we become vulnerable to the whims of others. You start bending over backwards to please everyone around you, and suddenly you find yourself in situations that make you uneasy or resonate with feelings of resentment. When we realize we are worthy of respect, our boundaries become less about shutting people out and more about letting the right ones in. The paradox is that by asserting your boundaries, you may initially fear alienating people. Still, in reality, it acts like a magnet, drawing in those who appreciate and respect who you are. Take Sarah, for instance. Her habit of always saying yes landed her in more than a handful of unfriendly coffee dates and tedious work projects. One day, she decided to start saying no to things that drained her spirit. Surprisingly, instead of losing friends, she began to attract people who valued her time and energy. It's almost comedic how those who truly wanted her around stepped up, while those who were only there for her compliance faded into the background. This isn't just Sarah's story. Countless cases illustrate how setting boundaries can lead to more profound connections. There's something quite liberating in proclaiming, "I'm worthy of my space and time." It's no longer about playing the role of the accommodating friend or partner. Instead, it becomes a declaration of independence that draws in like-minded individuals. What does this all boil down to? The act of setting boundaries isn't an act of exclusion, but rather an invitation to healthier relationships. As you navigate through life, remember that boundaries do not deter affection. They enhance it. Whether it's in friendships, romantic relationships, or even at work, establishing limits invites people to engage with you on a level that honors your value. It opens the door to genuine connections and fosters respect. Start small if it feels daunting. Try setting one boundary this week that echoes your worth. Watch how things shift, not just for you, but for those who choose to stay in your circle. You may just find your life humming with a delightful harmony of respect and mutual appreciation. Communicating boundaries clearly, the key to stronger connections. Effective communication strategies for expressing boundaries often feel like trying to nail jelly to a wall. It's slippery, it's messy, and there's a good chance you'll end up with a sticky situation. Everyone needs boundaries, but articulating them can sometimes seem like walking a tightrope over a pit of angry alligators. The challenge lies not just in knowing our limits, but in conveying them in a way that doesn't trigger defensiveness or provoke misunderstandings. One of the most important strategies is to be clear and direct. Start by using I statements because they focus on your feelings rather than placing blame. This way, you're not saying, "You are driving me crazy." Instead, it becomes, "I feel overwhelmed when plans change at the last minute." See? It's all about sharing your experience without coming off as confrontational. Another approach is to use positive language. For instance, when you need time for yourself, instead of saying, "I can't help you right now," try, "I would love to help, but I need some time to recharge first." This frames your boundary in a more constructive and less apologetic way. Role-playing can be ridiculously helpful in practicing boundary communication. You can simulate conversations with a friend or even in front of a mirror. Picture this. You have a friend who constantly asks for favors. You could role-play with someone pretending to be your friend while you express your boundaries. Start the conversation lightheartedly. "Hey, remember when I said I was all in for movie marathons but suddenly became a hermit? Well, that's my new boundary." Pretend they might react in various ways, from understanding to a dramatic fallout. It's fascinating, really. Practice makes perfect. This kind of rehearsal not only helps you gain confidence, but also allows you to experiment with different responses. You can analyze how you feel and adjust your approach accordingly. The beauty is, if you screw up, The stakes are low because your practice buddy likely won't hold it against you. You might even get a laugh about it over coffee. As you dive into these strategies, keep in mind that humor can be an ally. Laughing about our societal boundaries creates an immediate sense of camaraderie. When facing awkward moments, don't be afraid to inject some humor. Imagine telling your friend in a lighthearted tone, "Look, if you keep borrowing my clothes, we might as well just set up a clothing swap." This keeps the mood light while still making your point clear. Remember, boundaries aren't meant to be walls that isolate us. They're more like fences that keep your garden vibrant and thriving while preventing weeds from taking over. Stay true to what you need and be willing to communicate that authentically. It'll strengthen your connections and make them far more fulfilling. One practical tip: always check in with yourself. Are these boundaries still serving you? Cultivating awareness about your limits is a continuous journey, not just a destination. Chapter 12: Transforming Rejections into Opportunities. Embracing rejection, the gift of perspective. Rejection often feels like a personal attack, a sharp jab to our egos that sends us spiraling into self-doubt. But as it turns out, this discomfort can transform into a powerful tool for personal growth and resilience. Picture this: you've just poured your heart into a project, a date, or even applying for your dream job, only to be met with a big, resounding no. Initially, it stings like 1,000 paper cuts, but then you realize something profound. This rejection could be the very catalyst for your next great adventure. It nudges you to reevaluate your goals, to examine the motivations behind your pursuits, and ultimately to strengthen your resolve. Each rejection carries a lesson, even if it sometimes feels wrapped in a layer of humiliation. Maybe that job wasn't right for you, or perhaps that relationship wasn't designed to go the distance. In retrospect, they often introduce us to better opportunities that we might have overlooked had we stayed comfortable in what's familiar. To help cultivate a positive outlook on rejection, it's important to adopt a few mental frameworks. Think of rejection as redirection. It's not a termination of your efforts, but rather an opportunity to reassess where those efforts are best spent. One effective strategy is to reframe the narrative. Instead of internalizing rejection as a signal of your worth, view it as an invitation to explore new paths. You can also practice gratitude for the experience, acknowledging that each no brings you closer to the yes that truly resonates with who you are. Humor becomes a powerful ally here. Finding the absurdity in our rejection stories can often lighten the heaviness of the situation. After all, what's more relatable than a shared cringe over that first date where you realized you both had very different definitions of fun? Embracing these moments not only diffuses tension, but also connects us to our shared human experience. Embracing rejection is about letting go of the urge to chase after validation and instead focusing on your own growth. It's a hilarious yet enlightening process of discovering that not everyone is going to root for you, and that's perfectly okay. Sometimes, the pursuit of acceptance can feel like running in circles, gasping for breath, and desperately waving your arms to get noticed. But stepping back can provide clarity. Why do we chase? Often, it stems from our need for approval or fear of being alone. Learning to sit with rejection allows us to build resilience, fostering a sense of self that can withstand any external judgment. So the next time you face rejection, instead of sulking, remember that it's just a stepping stone on your journey. Embrace it, find the humor in it, and acknowledge it's a gift that's ripe with perspective. If you can lighten your heart with laughter and reflect on what you truly want, rejection can turn from a bitter pill to a spice that flavors your life's journey. Learning and growing, transforming setbacks into insights. Rejection has a funny way of knocking at our doors at the most unexpected times. It's almost like an unwanted guest at a party who refuses to leave. And when they finally do, you realize you've learned a thing or two from them. When I faced rejection, whether in school, work, or even in romance, my first instinct was to feel embarrassed and angry. But there's magic tucked away in those moments of discouragement, specifically in the stark honesty of being told no. It's a solid reminder that not everyone will see the brilliance in us, and that's totally okay. In fact, it's a launching pad for growth. By highlighting our vulnerabilities, rejection teaches us resilience. It nudges us towards introspection, prompting us to evaluate ourselves, our goals, and what we truly desire. Each rejection becomes an invitation to reflect on our strengths and weaknesses, pushing us to refine our skills and broaden our horizons. This transformative aspect of rejection, though paradoxical, helps us evolve into versions of ourselves we never knew existed. Extracting valuable lessons from setbacks requires a dose of humor and a sprinkle of self-compassion. After all, how fun is it to wallow in disappointment when you can laugh at your missteps? When I stumbled after an ambitious project, instead of panicking, I decided to treat it like an epic comedic sketch. What went wrong? Did I forget the key presentation slides? Were my facts hilariously incorrect? Pulling back from the initial sting of failure and looking for the lesson hidden beneath the surface turned my setbacks into insightful experiences. You see, every setback has a silver lining, and often it's our responsibility to dig to unearth it. I made it a habit to ask myself not just what went wrong, but what I could do differently the next time. This mindset shift transformed my failures into mere stepping stones on the path to success, reminding me that each stumble carries the potential for great insight. Embracing the chaos of my imperfections was revolutionary. It set the stage for growth and discovery. One practical tip that encapsulates this learning journey is to keep a setback journal. Document your rejections, failures, and the lessons learned from them. It's like building a personal roadmap designed from your own experiences. Over time, you'll notice patterns and themes emerging, revealing not just what you learned, but how resilient you truly are. Each page turned will remind you that setbacks are simply opportunities wearing harsh disguises, and with a little bit of humor and insight, they can lead you to profound personal growth. The resilience factor, building strength from rejection. Experiences of rejection can feel like a punch to the gut, leaving many of us questioning our worth. I remember the first time I was rejected from a job I desperately wanted. I sat there, staring at my computer screen, wondering if it was my resume or if I had just interviewed horribly. Yet in that moment of despair, I realized something pivotal. Every time I faced rejection, I was essentially lifting weights for my emotional resilience. Just like a gym session leaves your muscles sore yet stronger, rejection challenges our ego, pushing us to adapt. When we learn to embrace this discomfort, we not only build resilience, but also become more adept at navigating life's inevitable obstacles. Take, for example, the story of a friend who chased his dreams of becoming a musician. After countless auditions and rejections, he found himself on a particularly rough night, belting out his heart in a dive bar to an audience of 5. Each rejection had stung, making him question whether he should just hang up his guitar for good. Instead, he decided to change his perspective. Rather than wallowing in self-pity, he turned those rejections into fuel, using each no as motivation to work harder. Fast forward a few years, and he played in front of thousands at a music festival. His resilience was not born from never facing rejection, but from facing it repeatedly and choosing to rise each time. In reflecting on these experiences, one begins to understand a paradox. Our tendency to chase acceptance often leads us to undervalue rejection. Why is it that we crave approval so much? Perhaps it's a deep-seated urge to belong, to be loved, to be recognized. Yet this chase can distract us from our true selves and hinder our growth. Rejection, rather than being the end, can be the pivotal moment that sparks change. When faced with rejection, it is important to pause and ask ourselves why it matters so much. What can we learn from the experience? Each no is a stepping stone to discovering where we truly belong. Next time you feel the sting of rejection, remember, it's simply life's way of directing you to the better opportunities awaiting just around the corner. Chapter 13. Love Languages, Understanding Connection. Discovering yours, enhancing attraction through understanding. Understanding love languages is like unlocking a secret code to not only our own hearts, but to those of others as well. Each of us has a unique way we express and receive love, which directly impacts the attraction we feel towards others. For example, if your love language is acts of service, you might feel an instant attraction to someone who goes out of their way to help you. They don't even have to flash a dazzling smile. Their willingness to lend a hand makes your heart race. On the flip side, if you're more a words of affirmation type, you might find yourself irresistibly drawn to someone who can whisper sweet nothings that make you feel seen and appreciated. It's fascinating how a few simple words or actions can spark such powerful emotions. However, trying to express love in a way your partner doesn't understand can lead to mixed signals and confusion. Imagine buying a lavish gift for someone whose love language is quality time. It's like showing up to a potluck with a fancy cake when everyone else brought chips. You might end up feeling like you've misread the menu entirely. Now let's dig a little deeper into you. Do you know your love language? It's time to channel your inner relationship detective, because identifying your love language will not just clear up who you're chasing after, but also why you tend to gravitate towards certain types of individuals. Picture this. You wake up one day and decide to take a simple quiz. It might ask you things like how you feel the most appreciated, or what makes your heart flutter when done for you. By the end of it, you may just find out you're a physical touch enthusiast likely to swoon over the merest brush of someone's hand. Or perhaps you thrive on quality conversations, needing that deep connection more than anything else. Understanding this can save you from fruitless pursuits. You wouldn't want to fawn over someone whose love language clashes with yours, right? You can avoid unnecessary heartache and redirect your energy towards someone who speaks your language. Feeling excited yet? Start digging into your heart and covet those insights. Your path to enhanced attraction is just a quiz away. So here's a practical tip. Grab a friend or partner and swap insights about your love languages. Share experiences that relate to each language and watch how it opens up a new level of understanding in your relationships. By tuning into the way you and others express love, the chase may not just become more enjoyable. It might just transform into something profoundly fulfilling. Expressing love languages, attracting without chasing. Expressing your love language can feel like navigating a minefield. Seriously, it's both thrilling and terrifying. When I finally figured out my own love language, which is words of affirmation, I felt like I had struck gold. It made me realize that expressing how much I value others in my life, whether friends, family, or potential partners, is integral in attracting the right people into my world. When you know how to communicate your affection, it creates a magnetic pull that draws others in. Imagine me, awkwardly showering compliments like confetti while watching people lean in closer. The key is authenticity. When your expressions come from the heart, they become irresistible. You're not chasing anymore. You're simply being yourself and letting connections form organically. In understanding how love languages enhance attraction, I think about a friend who speaks acts of service fluently. She found that doing little things, like making a partner's favorite dinner or assembling IKEA furniture that could turn even the calmest person into a howling beast, created genuine closeness. Her partner, who feels love through quality time, perceived these gestures as her investing time and energy into him. It's like a game of chess, not checkers. The more you understand how the other person feels appreciated, the more you enhance that spark. Similarly, moments when I share laughter and fun experiences with people who appreciate playfulness form those unexpected bonds. It's purely alchemical, yet beautifully simple. We attract others by showing them that we understand their love language and reciprocate it. Realizing that chasing leads to exhaustion is a light bulb moment. Why do we feel the need to chase love? Is it that classic rom-com narrative that has us convinced we must run circles around someone to win their heart? Instead of wearing ourselves out, we should consider embracing a slower, more thoughtful approach where we showcase our best selves. When we lean into our love language, we naturally entice others. It's like an invitation to a party where you're the DJ spinning all the right tracks. So here's a handy tip. Find moments to express your love language in casual settings, maybe during a coffee with someone new. You might just stir up something special without even realizing it. Be open, be courageous, and watch attraction come to life in its natural, unchased form. The challenge of differing languages, finding common ground. Understanding how differing love languages can complicate connections is essential, yet entertaining in its awkwardness. Picture this: you're pouring your heart out using words of affirmation like a poet, while your partner, on the other end, is quietly lining their bookshelf or might be elbow deep in a DIY project. They hear your sweet nothings as if they were an ancient dialect they never quite learned. This mismatched communication can create chaos in relationships. Love languages vary. While some crave physical touch, others find security in acts of service. It's like playing charades, but you're in different rooms, trying to guess the same movie. The good news? You're not alone in this journey of miscommunication, but the challenge is real. It's when the heart speaks one language and the ears of our loved ones are tuned to another that the comedy of errors plays out. The laughter often shared while navigating these misunderstandings can forge strong connections, but only if we approach it with a spirit of patience and openness. Providing strategies for reconciling differing love languages in relationships can transform frustration into understanding. Begin by identifying your love languages and having fun with it. Think of it as a scavenger hunt, where you're both searching for clues of how to express your affection meaningfully. Discuss openly what types of actions or words resonate with you both. If you're with someone who feels loved through quality time, turn off the electronics and dedicate an afternoon to each other. No distractions. Yes, even iPhones should stay out of sight. If gifts are their jam, surprise them with a little something that shows you were thinking of them, preferably more than a receipt from a gas station. Learning to express your love in your partner's language might feel unnatural at first, like wearing shoes a size too small, but the joy it brings is worth the initial discomfort. Empathy plays a huge role here. Stepping into your partner's shoes, even for a moment, can make all the difference. Remember, the more you practice this, the less it feels like an obligation and more like a dance of love. Ultimately, the journey of navigating love languages doesn't have to feel like a chore, but rather an adventure filled with laughter and growth. One practical tip is to regularly check in with each other. Make it a habit to ask how your partner feels loved and cherished. Whether it's a silly text while they're at work or a spontaneous date night where you both try to express love in new ways, these small actions can create a ripple effect of understanding and connection. The key is to allow room for mistakes, create an atmosphere where both of you can learn from each other, and most importantly, keep your sense of humor intact. Love is a puzzle, and who knows? You might just discover there's more than one right piece that fits perfectly. Chapter 14. Taking inspired action, when to engage. Knowing when to make a move, signs of genuine interest. Mutual attraction can often feel like trying to decipher an ancient script. You're sitting across from someone, and suddenly the air shifts. You catch their eye, and there it is, a curious spark. It's in those lingering glances, the way they lean closer when talking, or how they mirror your movements. These are subtle indicators shouting, "Hey, I might actually like you." The laughter that feels a bit too genuine, the shared inside jokes that build a bubble around just the two of you, these are not accidents. They signal that you're on the same frequency. And let's not forget about the tiny touches, the playful nudges that send electric shocks through your veins. It's like a dance, where both partners instinctively know when to lead and when to follow. But what about the dance steps of engagement? It's not always easy to know when to take that leap, right? Sometimes you might be left hanging like a bad stand-up comedian waiting for applause. The secret lies in recognizing those subtle cues. Does their smile linger a little too long? Are they finding excuses to keep the conversation going? If they touch their hair or adjust their collar while talking to you, it could be their way of showing they care about their appearance in front of you. It's those little fidgety moments that often scream, "I'm interested." Yet there's an art to it. Too much chasing can make you feel like a dog chasing its tail. Timing is everything. You don't want to be the one knocking on love's door at the wrong moment. Understanding the psychology behind this isn't just fascinating, it's crucial. Why do we chase? Perhaps it's the thrill of the hunt, the heart-racing excitement that comes with feeling wanted. But why do we need to learn when to stop? Engaging at the right time can be the difference between a spark and a fizzle. If you find yourself constantly running after someone who seems disinterested, it's time to step back. A practical tip: pay attention to how they make you feel. Genuine interest should feel uplifting, not like a relentless uphill battle. When the signs point to mutual attraction, that's when it's not just you chasing shadows, but sharing in a beautiful light together. The balance of pursuing and allowing, finding the sweet spot. Finding the sweet spot between pursuing something and allowing it to unfold can feel like trying to walk a tightrope while juggling watermelons. When I think of all the times I spiraled into relentless pursuit, like chasing after a bus that was already several blocks away, I realize there's a certain irony in our quest for success. We chase after dreams, relationships, and even snacks, convinced that if we don't initiate action, we'll end up missing out. Yet sometimes we grip our goals a little too tightly, forgetting that life has its own rhythm and flow. Understanding when to lean in and take action versus when to step back and let things develop is a skill that I am still mastering. One practical tip from my journey is to practice awareness and attunement. Pay attention to the responses of those around you. Do they lean in or do they seem pulled back? Learning to read these cues will guide you in determining when to step forward and when it's wise to let go. It's all about finding that enchanting equilibrium where initiative and flow coexist harmoniously, transforming chasing into a collaborative exploration. Following your intuition, trusting your gut in attractions. Intuition plays a pivotal role in attraction scenarios, often surfacing as that gut feeling we can't quite explain. Why do we sometimes feel an instant spark with one person and a dull pallor with another? This undeniable sense can be amusingly mysterious. I vividly remember the time I met someone at a party who had an impressive resume but dripped with an aura of pretentiousness that made my stomach turn. On the contrary, there was this one person who strolled in late, looking disheveled, yet my heart did a little jig. These personal experiences reveal how our intuition scoffs at our logical reasoning, guiding us toward connections that resonate on a primal level. Our instincts don't just throw a wild card, they boldly call out our preferences, often before we even consciously acknowledge them. Strengthening your intuitive decision-making can transform the whirlwind of attraction into a more manageable adventure. One simple exercise that has served me well involves tuning into physical sensations when meeting new people. The next time you find yourself in a social setting, take a moment to pause and breathe, letting feelings settle in your body. Notice those fluttery feelings in your stomach, or perhaps a weight on your chest. These are clues. Jot down how these sensations correspond with your impressions of people throughout the night. You'll start to see patterns, allowing you to refine the instinctive radar that all of us have buried deep within. Another amusingly ridiculous exercise is to assign silly names to your gut feelings based on the cues you pick up. For example, if my instinct says run, I might jokingly characterize it as the cheetah effect. This lighthearted approach can help you recognize and trust your gut without letting the pressures of attraction derail your senses. Attraction doesn't have to be a dizzying chase full of unanswered texts and cryptic behavior. Relying on that quirky intuition can offer amusing insights and help clarify what you truly want. When you honor your gut feelings, you're less likely to engage in relationships that don't fulfill you, saving you from awkward coffee dates with those who clearly aren't your match. So the next time your gut whispers, listen to it. It might just save you from a night filled with unnecessary small talk and awkward silences. Embrace the hilarity of your vulnerabilities and let your intuition guide you. When everything else fails, remember, your gut is like an overzealous, overprotective ant. It cares deeply about your well-being and probably knows best. Chapter 15. Embracing the Journey, Attraction as a Lifelong Adventure. The beauty of uncertainty, how to enjoy the process. Finding joy in the unpredictability of the attraction journey is like embarking on a thrilling roller coaster ride. One minute, you're climbing the heights of excitement, and the next, you're plummeting into the depths of uncertainty. I've often found myself chasing after that perfect moment or ideal partner, but it dawned on me that the chase itself, with all its unexpected twists and turns, can be surprisingly delightful. Instead of fixating on the end game, finding a soulmate or achieving another milestone, I learned to relish the unpredictable stops along the way. Embracing the mystery of not knowing who you'll meet or what will happen next allows for a richer, more colorful experience. As I stumbled into coffee shops, awkward social gatherings, and spontaneous adventures, I began to see each interaction not as a potential future partner, but as a unique story waiting to unfold, a moment to be cherished rather than chased. Discussing techniques to stay present and engaged in the adventure, I've discovered that mindfulness plays a pivotal role. One day, while waiting nervously for a date, I stopped and focused on my surroundings. I marveled at the laughter of children playing nearby, the smell of freshly baked cookies from the cafe, and the sound of the city bustling with life. Rather than fixating on whether this date would lead to a fairy tale ending, I began enjoying the little things in the moment. Techniques like deep breathing, paying attention to your five senses, or even jotting down thoughts in a journal can pull you into the present. Engaging with your surroundings fosters a sense of connection, not only with yourself, but also with others. Each person you meet is a chapter in an unwritten story, and being present allows you to appreciate every plot twist instead of rushing toward a finish line. Forget the pressure of perfection and welcome the delightful messiness of human connection. The most valuable takeaway from this journey of embracing uncertainty is simple. Allow yourself to be surprised. Life is often so busy trying to meet expectations that we forget the joy of spontaneous discovery. The next time you feel the urge to control every aspect of your attraction journey, challenge yourself to let go, even a little. Try something new without researching every detail. Approach conversations without scripting your responses. When you open yourself to life's unpredictability, you'll find beauty in the simplest of moments and perhaps even uncover a happiness that you never intended to chase. Cultivating friendships, attraction in all forms. Nurturing friendships is not just about shared interests or fun outings, it forms a vital foundation for attraction. Think about it. The most genuine attractions often start with a solid friendship. You find yourself laughing at the same jokes, sharing secrets, and being entirely yourself around this person. There's an underlying comfort that lays the groundwork for a deeper connection. The beauty of it all is that friendships possess an undeniable chemistry, often stripping away the awkwardness that comes with traditional dating. Have you ever felt that warm flutter in your chest when your friend sends you a meme that perfectly captures your day? That's not just friendship, it's attraction, simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment. We chase after romantic relationships, often overlooking the friendships that could blossom into something beautiful, leaving us with a sense of longing rather than fulfillment. Navigating the dynamics of friendship and attraction is a fascinating journey. We often find ourselves stuck in a loop of chasing after what we think we want, when we should actually be pausing to appreciate the friendships already around us. Embrace the uncertainty and realize that sometimes it's the connections already established that can lead to the most profound relationships. Start engaging with your friends differently. Be curious about their interests, delve deeper into their stories, and let your true selves shine through the laughter and shared moments. This isn't just about hoping something shifts into romance. It's about enriching your life and relationships, no matter the outcome. Trust the process, and often you'll find that the greatest love stories evolve from the depths of friendship. Reflecting on growth, an ongoing exploration of self and connection. Self-reflection is like looking in a mirror, but instead of your face, you're staring into your psyche. It's a little scary and a lot enlightening. We often get caught up in attraction patterns, chasing after characters straight out of a romantic comedy, while ignoring the red flags waving like a flag football match. Why do we do this? Maybe we're drawn to what's familiar, even if it's not healthy. By taking a moment to reflect, we can start to see the common threads in our romantic pursuits. Is it the thrill of the chase that gets your heart racing? Or perhaps it's a deeper yearning for validation? Whatever it is, understanding these patterns can help us make choices that lead to more fulfilling connections. When you embark on a journey of personal growth, everything changes, even your relationships. Imagine you're like a plant in a sun soaked garden. As you grow, you need better soil, quality water, and maybe a little compost for those nutrients. This growth reframes how you interact with others. No longer are you just a character in someone else's story, you're the author of your own. As you shed old habits and self imposed limitations, you stop chasing after fleeting attractions that once felt like fireworks, but were really just sparklers that burned out quickly. Instead, you start attracting meaningful connections where growth is mutual and the love is deep. Chasing after fleeting attractions doesn't just exhaust you, it can also create a blind spot for deeper opportunities. Instead, look for connections that nourish your soul and challenge your mind. The next time you feel that stir of attraction, pause and ask yourself, does this person encourage my growth? If the answer is no, it might be time for a little introspection. Who knows? Maybe the next exciting chapter of your life begins with acknowledging what truly resonates with you. As we come to the close of the Art of Effortless Attraction, remember this. The power to attract what you desire lies not in how hard you chase it, but in who you are when you stop chasing. Attraction is more than a game. It's a reflection of your inner energy, your confidence, and your openness to receiving. You've learned that by cultivating self-worth, setting boundaries, and embracing the power of nonchalance, you naturally invite abundance and connection into your life. But this is only the beginning. Attraction is an ongoing process, a journey of continual growth and refinement. As you move forward, continue to nurture the inner confidence and mindfulness you've developed here. Remember that the strongest magnetism comes from being true to yourself, living authentically, and trusting in the flow of life. So let go of the chase. Trust that what is meant for you will come in its own time. Celebrate the process, embrace vulnerability, and most of all, enjoy the adventure of attracting what is meant for you. You've unlocked the art of effortless attraction, and the rewards are boundless.